the hay, all you sports fans out there in the Tubosphere. Welcome to One Man Sports Rant. I am your host, Will, the alternative ESPN Sports Thrill, talking about some interesting and cool factoid ESPN science with some of the biggest names. We covered them all last year. College football players, now going to be NFL. How will they be drafted based on this schematic that Sports Science did? Alright, so let's get to it. See, from our Pi Kappa Alpha House Sweethearts, UView Chapter Alpha Tau, giving you props. Alright, just a reminder, the OMSR is a show, has to be done this way, it's not my first choice, called the DMCA, never produced, put up a video, then you don't understand some of the difficulties to this, especially when you're piggybacking on some of these other networks. We give all the credit to ESPN, except to say this show is copyright to the OMSR. Brief video highlights courtesy to ESPN and the NFL. The OMSR does not own these video highlights, but does own all the other original content. The overall concept herein, thereof, therefore, most rights reserved. The biggest right, of course, belonging all the video highlights we're able to bring in to the aforementioned parties. Alright, so stands to reason. Yeah, and we've all discussed this. What's the best way to put this out there without being in your face? I know that sounds like a misnomer. One man sports rant, we. There is a we involved in this project. We're all former college football or basketball players, and a few Marine Corps recon. So, you wouldn't say a flip comment to our face? I'm pretty sure that's the case. Don't do it from the safety of your computer. For a pro bono sports show, we're able to bring you quite a lot. Alright, enough said about that. So these dudes are looking pretty good, and this ESPN Sports Science, especially in this rendition, 2013, very cool. Split it up into 3 parts so as to give ESPN all the credit. Can't piggyback on, one network for too long, given any event, sporting or otherwise. The good ship sports clip lollipop on YouTube has sailed. In terms of, if you could put up an hour and get away with it, doesn't mean you should. We've been doing this since Generation 1. Alright, enough of the legalese. You see, Kim Pak, the mighty Kim Pak, our oracle to the sports gods, 21-4, after the Final Four. It's kind of cool. So, start asking him questions when the NBA playoffs start to come to a head. Who's going to win Game 6? Is so-and-so is going to be able to come back from 3-1? We'll see how that goes. Alright, so 3 parts coming up. Big names, Denard, Robinson, Ogletree from Georgia, DJ Fluker, Alabama, yada yada, so forth and so on. Monte Ball from Wisconsin. I could go on and on and on. Just you check out all 3 parts. This is going to be the baseline show for all 3. So you'll know if you want to see all 3 from this point, whatever first point you see, when to fast forward to. I understand. This show's not meant to be everybody's cup of tea. It's meant to COA, which in singular form is CYA. No silly DUIs while you're out there celebrating whatever sport you prefer. Better days, more signature plays.
Player from the deep talent pool of defensive ends who visited our lab is the consensus #1 pick in the awesome name draft. LSU defensive end, Barkevious Mingo. After analyzing his performance in our Living on the Edge test and others, Mingo's athleticism proved to be off the charts, and it was on display when we calculated his incredible range.
What we want to do is we want to see how well you can knock down a pass.
I'm ready.
Do it. 3, 2, 1, go.
Trenches obscures the backfield, our wall hides the ball until the last second. Then Mingo reacts and bats down the pass in just over 0.4 of a second, about as fast as the average QB's released him. This means from 5 yards out, Mingo can still get a hand on the ball, even if he remains engaged with his opponent through more than 60% of the quarterback's throwing motion. Our cutting-edge 3D scanning technology makes over 140 measurements of Mingo's body and reveals a wingspan of 80 inches. And with an explosive takeoff, Mingo's max vertical measures 40 inches, a higher mark than Superman himself, Dwight Howard. This means Mingo can get a hand on a ball roughly 11 and a half feet in the air. So when we run all of his numbers through our metric, Barkevius Mingo ranks in the 90th percentile, racking up a higher score than Sports Science alum and last season's sack leader for the Saints, Cam Jordan. If you think Mingo's right-handed reach is impressive, get this. Our high-tech body scanner revealed his other arm is actually 1.5 inches longer, giving Mingo an even bigger range to his left. And that kind of disruptive range should give quarterbacks fits in the NFL. Now, over the years, Sports Science has tested numerous QBs, including stars like Drew Brees and Ben Roethlisberger. And based on those experiments, we've developed a series of tests that challenge every facet of the QB position. We test arm strength, and out of this year's prospects, Tyler Bray threw the hardest, cranking his velocity up to 58 miles an hour. Mike Glennon and Zach Dicer excelled in accuracy, and Jordan Rodgers was the only quarterback who got every question correct in the difficult mind games test. But in our assessment, one QB stood out from the pack. Florida State's E.J. Manuel. To test how quickly Manuel can recognize a target and get off a pass, we equipped him with eye-tracking technology and put him through our accuracy test.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Our data shows Manuel can lock onto a target in about 1/4 of a second. And incredibly, his release time averages just 1/3 of a second. That's the fastest release we've analyzed in the lab this year, and faster than another top draft prospect, Geno Smith. And not only is Manuel quick, he's also accurate. From 15 yards, he hit the 24-inch diameter targets 90% of the time. From that distance, that's the best of the QBs we tested in the lab this year.
Sam, that is amazing.
But Manuel's accuracy is most impressive during our touch test. With 2 defenders rushing, he has to feather a ball 20 yards into a 3-foot diameter target while backpedaling. To put the difficulty of this test in perspective, from that distance, if Manuel's throw is off target by less than 2 degrees right or left, the ball sails wide. And releasing the football at about a 31-degree angle, if his launch velocity varies by just 0.5 mile per hour from ideal, he misses the target. But amazingly, Manuel nails his first 9 in a row. On his way to breaking a record for this test set by Sports Science alum Colin Kaepernick.
Not bad, not bad.
We've never had somebody go 90%.
Yeah, there we go.
So after a complete analysis of E.J. Manuel, taking into account more than 20 different factors, he hits the 89th percentile in our metric, a higher score than NFL starter Andy Dalton. Now, some question E.J. Manuel's ability to throw downfield, but consider this. In passes traveling more than 10 yards through the air, his senior completion percentage was less than 3% lower than last year's #1 draft pick, Andrew Luck. Now, on the other side of the ball, one of the linebackers hoping to be chasing down NFL QBs is Georgia's Alec Ogletree.
One of your primary responsibilities, obviously, is just get to the ball carrier. Now, in order to do that, you have to get through a lot of bodies.
It's a matter of using your hands and just using your quickness to beat the block.
We're going to see how quickly you can get to the ball carrier in our
In order to get to the ball carrier, Ogletree has to get through our simulation of the offensive line.
Those heavy bags weigh about 300 pounds each, so that's a lot of inertia to overcome. So he has to create a lot of momentum to get through those heavy bags.
Ogletree generates enough momentum to plow through our heavy bags in just over 2 seconds. That's 0.15 of a second faster than the average time recorded by our 2013 class of running backs. And despite the speed bump created by the agility poles, Ogletree still gears up to nearly 14 miles per hour, more than 75% of his top speed, in just 2 steps. An acceleration on par with all-pro NFL linebacker Lamar Woodley. And when Ogletree rolls into our center dummy, the initial impact measures more than 1,900 pounds of force. That's comparable to hits we've measured in the lab by Von Miller. Ogletree's elite athleticism is on display when he throws down an effortless front flip. As he launches, Ogletree pushes into the ground with 7 times his body weight, over 1,700 pounds. The muscles in his lower body fire, propelling his 243-pound body upward and forward as he spins at an angular velocity of 625 degrees per second. Front flips are difficult to execute because the landing is blind. But with exceptional kinesthetic awareness, the body's ability to sense its placement in space, Ogletree sticks the landing with ease. After completing a battery of tests in the lab, Alec Ogletree receives a total metric score in the 88th percentile. Our evaluation puts him on a level comparable to sports science veteran and last season's Defensive Rookie of the Year, Luke